Hey YouTube. So I had the privilege of playing International Master Eric Rosen this morning. He was streaming, playing blindfolded against viewers. So what this means is he can't see the pieces, but his opponents and Twitch can. So what we have here is a recording of the game where he played against me. So I'll be pausing the video here and there and talking about what I was thinking during the game. All right, so here we go.
All right, I'll play someone else. Do I want to challenge myself? Okay, I'm going to play the highest rated player who's challenging me, which is Chess with Chris. Good luck, Chris.
All right, so I got lucky.
And let me change this back. Okay. Oh, is Chris here? He's logged out. Chris, where are you?
So my phone took a minute to connect. When he accepted my challenge, for some reason it disconnected and then reconnected after the game was pulled up. So that was a little bit confusing.
Oh, he's here.
I was playing
Okay.
on my phone.
Okay. D4. So I need to stay extra focused this game.
He'd only played a couple of rated games so far, so his 1757 was really low, obviously.
I like 5+3. It gives me enough time. I'll play a Budapest.
Okay, so he plays the Budapest Gambit, and I forgot when I played c4 that he plays the Budapest Gambit. If I had known that he was going to go e5, I probably would have played knight f3 instead. But live and learn. This is my first game against Eric, so.
Best. Try and be aggressive. I feel like being blindfolded kind of encourages me to be more aggressive. Okay, let's play a very aggressive line.
Yeah, so normally knight f6 and then or knight c6 and knight f3 is interposed first, but I think that we transposed, and it works out just fine. I play the main line here, and it turns out he knows more theory than me, of course, being a master. But I think I handled the position fairly well. It just took me a while to recall what I memorized, so I wasted a lot more time in the opening than he did.
Starting with check. That's a bug. Go away, bug. Knight c3. I'll just take and play knight c6. And black should win back the e5 pawn.
And hearing him say that in the post, like, cause I didn't hear him say that until I had the stream muted, but now hearing him say that is kind of surprising, because the analysis that I was given when I memorized this line was that after queen d5, black has to play f6, and then we trade pawns, and I'm just a pawn up. So that's the only reason I accepted playing this line with these isolated c and a pawns, is because I thought I was gonna there was no way he could win this pawn back after queen d5. So I play queen d5, and then he surprises me with his next move.
Hopefully. I have 3 attackers.
But yeah, I'm wasting too much time here.
There's only one move for white to defend, which is queen d5, which is what he plays. So this is still preparation. This is one of the main lines.
Yeah, so queen a3, that completely threw me for a loop. I was expecting f6, because f6 is the move that came with the study material that I had memorized, preparing me for playing d4. So yeah, queen a3, and I'm out of book, and I'm panicking, because I'm like, oh my god, what do I do now?
Now I'm attacking c3. There's a couple ways to defend. There's rook c1, there's queen d2.
So I didn't see rook c1, but so I ended up playing queen e2, or sorry, queen d2.
Yeah, queen d2, I can play queen a5, which is a nice move.
Yeah, so here I'm really panicking right now, because I'm realizing there's no way for me to defend both c3 and e5. One of these pawns is going to fall.
Because I keep the pressure on c3 and I attack the pawn. So he can't play queen d5 because I just win the pawn. And otherwise, I'm just ready to take the pawn. Not with the queen, of course, but...
Yeah, so he wants to play knight g4, takes e5, but for some reason I start panicking here. You know, I'm in panic mode because I realize I'm going to be not a pawn up and have all these weak pawns, and I'm like, okay, I'm screwed now because I'm going to have all these isolated pawns, doubled C pawns, and he's going to win his pawn back. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I guess I'll just play this, and I don't know. I panicked and played
Probably
H3.
get a knight G takes E5 next move. So H3 is kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, so he calls it a waste of time, and I agree. And looking at it now, when there's no clock, yeah, it obviously seems like a waste of time and a bad move. But yeah, I just didn't. I was so concerned about not being a pawn up in this opening. It just, yeah, I lost all reason. Like if I had to play it over again, I would play E3 and Bishop E2 and not waste time with H3.
Just because I wanted to take the pawn anyway. So E3, okay. Okay, let's play D6. Solid move. This is an easier structure for me to remember than last game. So I have a very kind of fluid setup, and white also has kind of a logical setup.
Yeah, so I'm playing normal moves unlike his last opponent. His last opponent was lower rated and was getting into a position. He played out of book probably a lot earlier than I did, and was having to make Eric work harder by not playing the opening moves that he's more familiar with. Whereas, you know, I know a little bit more book than his last opponent, so I guess that's why, I guess.
And now,
but the one non-book move that I played was H3, and I'll say I don't want to give away the end of the game or the action that happened in the middle, but that does end up confusing him in the future. A little bit of foreshadowing for you.
I'll go for Bishop E6, just targeting C4. I'm happy with trades, actually. The more pieces that come off, the easier it is to just see the whole position.
And, you know, honestly, there is something, because I know he's playing blindfolded, right? If he was playing against some random person on the internet, they wouldn't have known he was playing blindfolded. But because I knew he was playing blindfolded, I suppose I could have attempted to like play moves that were more difficult for him to. I never did that. I just played normal chess. I was never trying to trick him or confuse him because I knew he was playing blindfolded. Well, okay, one move I played. Only one move I played, and I'll point that out later. I played one move that was a little bit like trying to trick him. But yeah, we'll see that later.
And C4 is still a target.
And yeah, the reason I made those two minor piece trades was just to defend C4. I didn't see any other way of defending C4. So now he doesn't have a knight attacking C4, and you know my bishop is enough to defend it.
Okay. So now things are becoming very positional. We both have light squared bishops, but white's pawns are just a mess. And I'll treat this very positionally. I'll probably like play b6, just making sure the c-pawns are fixed, and then queen c5, and then someday win the c4 pawn. That's a reasonable move. Attacking b7.
That's interesting. You know, he can't see any of the pieces on the board, but of course he sees that rook b1 attacks the pawn on b7, and he knows that there's nothing in between the rook and the pawn on b7. It's amazing to me to see him play blindfolded and understand the position so well. Now, having complimented him, he does get confused later, but yeah, it's still astounding to think that he couldn't see anything and he still beat me. So
he wants to play rook b5. I'll still play b6.
And he says I want to play rook b5. Rook b5 never crossed my mind. He's scared of a move that never even entered my mind, which I find is interesting against higher rated players. Like, they often try to prevent moves that I'm not even considering. which is frustrating. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's part of chess, I guess.
Rook b5 might come. Queen d4.
So my idea with this is that if we trade queens, I can repair my structure with c takes d4. But of course he doesn't take my queen, and this tension remains for some moves.
Interesting. Could maybe play f6. But f6, rook b5.
So again, rook b5, I have no intention of playing rook b5.
Maybe a6? You play a6. Preventing rook b5.
So yeah, a6 confused me. I didn't know what was going on with that move. I was like, why is he playing a6? Surely he doesn't want to play b5 and let me trade my c-pawn off. Yeah, I wasn't sure what was happening there.
I am not in the US. I'm still in Bangkok. Bishop f3. Play rook d8. I think after this game, I'll try bullet. So if people want to challenge me to bullet, I'm going to try and see if that's doable. Bishop d5. Play rook e8. Just trying to improve. Someone with the username blind pawn just challenged me. Wonder if he's also blind. Maybe in a different sense. So takes. We could just go into a rook ending.
So at this point, we have, all of our pieces developed. Our rooks are on decent files. Our queen and bishops are active. And it's actually difficult to find a plan. Like once I moved my last rook to an active square, I was confused as to what to do. It turns out he is too, because yeah, while he has some positional advantage, right, his structure is much better than mine. It's not clear how to take advantage of that, and he struggles with this for the next move, and then I struggle again to find a plan. Like what am I going to do now that all my pieces are developed? I come up with a plan on the king side that worked out, I think, fairly well, but yeah, it was tricky, and it took me a long time to find that move, and that's why I get into a ton of time pressure here. So we'll see that we'll see that develop in the next couple of minutes.
I'm tempted to take on d4, but it's probably not necessary. Play c5. I don't know what to do. So takes. I really don't know what to do. I'm just going to play a waiting move and see what white is doing.
Yeah, so that was actually really, what do I want to say, like really practical. Bishop d7 was a really practical move from his standpoint. Didn't create any new weaknesses, covers the c6 weakness, and he's just waiting for me to make a plan or make a mistake. And it took me over a minute here to make up a plan and to try to think about what to do. And I kind of had the luxury of doing this because there's a 3-second increment in this game. But yeah, I do waste a lot of time here.
Try and keep my time advantage. Why are your pieces ghosts? Because I have the board overlaid. So what I'm seeing, I can't see any of the pieces. But what you see the pieces, you can also see the arrows that I draw. It was my best attempt to find a solution where people can see the arrows along with the pieces. It was difficult to set up. And this is really just an experimental stream. Trying to keep things fresh. I like the fact that white is thinking here.
I'm sure he does.
Could use some more extra time.
So I'll say what my plan was. I wanted to play king f1, king e2, and then march my f and g pawns and get my king in behind my pawns. So like king f1, king e2, f4, g4, king f3. These were my ideas, just to gain space on the king side and try to pressure him with my pawns. But I didn't want to play king f1 immediately because he had queen to h2. So yeah, I traded queens first, and then I can bring my king up a little bit more safe that way.
Wait, where's my other rook? My rook's on f8, right? Or is it on d8?
So here he starts to get confused every now and then as to where the rooks are,
okay.
where some of the pawns are. And of course, I have no idea he's confused about anything. I'm just trying to play chess.
King f1. So I still have like this positional edge with better structure. I'm trying to figure out how to actually make use of it. I think I'll put the pawn on a5 and maybe transfer the bishop to a6. My king should be on f8. This bishop's kind of annoying. Let's go back to e7. e3 could be weak. Never mind. Okay, let's do this. So white does have a growing space advantage. Realizing my bishop on going to a6 really does nothing. So I have another plan.
So he comes up with this plan, actually, and I'll give it away. He's trying to trap my bishop on d5. So what he does is take away the square d4, plays bishop d7, and then threatens to play c6. And I saw all of this, and I'm realizing, as soon as I play king f3, that my bishop has very few squares to go to, and I'm mindful of that, for the next several moves. So yeah, I did see this idea he had, and at one point I wasn't even sure what to do about it, and I played kind of a weird move that surprises him.
Let's start with this, attacking e3, expecting rook e1. Wait, it says rook e1. I thought both rooks could move to e1. Where's his other rook? Rook fd1. Oh, he played rook fd1. So his other rook is still on b1. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, so I don't blame him at all for using the notation to figure out where the pieces were. It's hard enough, right, to do this without any board. But yeah, it is a little bit easier online because you have the move list right there. If you were playing like really blindfolded, right, with the blindfold over your piece, and then your opponent is saying the moves, and you guys are saying the moves back and forth, that's actually much more difficult. But yeah, I guess he's practicing this because he wants to improve his visualization. Like that's why he said in the stream, he's trying to improve his visualization. So yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah, so he's already threatening c6 here, winning the piece. And I play bishop b7.
b7. Wow.
So I'm not sure if he says wow here because like he didn't expect me to see that he was threatening c6, or because he expected to be like king g3 so that my bishop could go back to f3. I'm not really sure. Maybe not king g3, but king f2, just to keep an eye on the e3 pawn, but still give the bishop to f3. But yeah, bishop b7 is probably risky.
Let's play rook b8. Wait, no. I could also play c6. Nah, let's play rook b8.
I think c6 would have been better. C6 it's hard to say how my bishop gets out. And yeah, he probably be traveling my bishop after c6. Although after c6, actually, I can take on b6, so maybe that wasn't good.
If bishop e4, I can take on g4.
Okay, now here's where my move h3, which was terrible in the opening, now confuses him in the endgame. So he's thinking he's winning a pawn by taking on g4.
Deflecting the king, and then I can win the bishop.
All right, so here I'm up a piece, and I realize what happened. You know, as soon as he played bishop takes g4, I'm like, oh my god, he doesn't know that my pawn's on h3. So, yeah, I understood what happened, and I kind of laughed a little bit. You know, like, oh my god, I actually have a chance. I got really nervous here because, like, oh my god, suddenly I have a winning position, but I'm not sure I can convert.
Oh, he had a pawn on h3. No, yeah. I forgot he had a pawn on h3. Oh, that's so sad.
But yeah, my heart is racing at this point. Like, oh my god, you can't even imagine. I've never come this close to beating a titled player. But yeah, I have a severe time disadvantage. He has more than twice the amount of time that I do, and yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
When did he play h3? I don't even know.
I played h3 in the opening when it was a blunder.
When? Ah, I moved 10. It didn't register. So sad. Okay, so now I'm down a bishop, but I have more time. Where's my king? On g7 now. Okay. e4. Ah, this is so painful. Rook h1.
So I'm just trying to move fast, realizing I'm in time pressure.
Just have to.
And I'm targeting the h pawn because I see I have the have open h file. And he accuses me later of like shuffling my pieces around, but I realized that attacking the h pawn on the h file is stupid. Like, I'm never going to play g4. I'm never going to play g5 and allow him to play h5, getting a protected passed pawn. So it's kind of useless to build up on the h file. So then I switch over to the e file, and he thinks that I'm like trying to shuffle around, confusing him, but it's just me not being able to find a good plan with 42 seconds left on my clock.
Weather the pawn storm.
So he sees the buildup on the h file coming, and yeah, rook b to h1 actually doesn't threaten anything, so he just kind of shovels his other rook around.
Trying to be extra safe. Just waiting for him to break through.
So here I switch to the e file.
Yeah, he's trying to confuse me by moving around a lot.
I really wasn't. I just realized that the h file stuff was nonsense, and I shouldn't be going for that.
And it's really annoying. King g3. Okay.
I'm not sure why I play king g3.
Okay, this is terrifying.
So yeah, all I'm thinking about is opening up lines and trying to trade rooks, because the more rooks I trade off, the more my extra bishop matters. So yeah, he doesn't let me trade off both rooks here, but yeah.
Wait, I'm really confused.
So those are pre-moves by me.
Oh, his rook was on e1, that's why. Okay, let's put the king here. Looking for tricks which don't really exist. Put the king here.
We're both getting low on time.
Draw?
He offers a draw here. And, you know, for an instant, I thought about repeating here, and I wasn't sure if it was good. obviously I have a bishop up, and I would probably kill myself for not trying to win this. You know, like I would feel really bad for not trying to win when I'm a piece up, even against a title player. So I didn't go for the repetition here.
Rook d7, good move.
So he said rook d7 was a good move, but I think I can't actually safely take on c7 because of king d6. Yeah, so it's tricky. I'm not sure. I'm not sure really.
Let's activate.
I didn't end up taking on c7.
This king's on g3, right? Check.
And here's where I play the one move that I think I was trying to trick him. Because I see that my bishop on c6 is covering h1. So I didn't want to play like king h2, you know, trying to drive his rook away. So instead I play king h3, thinking that he might give a check on h1. And yeah, this was the only time that I considered the fact that he might have been blindfolded and might not have seen that my bishop was covering h1. But of course he does, and avoids that. So it's amazing, actually. He doesn't see any of the pieces, and he remembers that my bishop's on c6 covering h1, not giving me the second check. It's actually really...
That's annoying.
It's really good. So here I'm threatening king g5, invading and supporting my pawn, my fast pawn.
This is really sad. I think I'm going to lose my first game on this account. Don't play h5. Please.
And I guess in his mind, somehow the king and pawn got switched. He thinks my pawn is on h5 or something. But he thinks my pawn is on h4 so that I can play h5. I'm not sure how that happened.
Please don't.
So I protect my c4
Wait,
pawns.
What? I play king g7?
And I wish I'd played king g4 here, but I played g4 instead.
I still have a c pawn, right? c6.
This was a trap. I wasn't sure if he just hung that pawn or what, but yeah, I ended up taking that and losing the bishop. I think he comments that I have to play bishop a6, which I didn't see.
Am I winning the bishop? I won the bishop. King f4. So where are the pawns? I have a pawn here, here, and here. He has this, this, and this. His king's on f4.
So he gives me an extra pawn for some reason.
But his rook is stuck. e5. Let's
I lose all my pawns.
a4. King d5. Let's put the rook here. Now I have a pass pawn. His king's cut off.
Now I play a move which gives away the fact that I don't have an h pawn, and then he realizes that my g pawn is hanging, which he doesn't think my pawn is hanging right now.
Rook is stuck. h5 never works because I take on g5.
So I play rook h2, and he realizes there's nothing supporting that g5 pawn, and he can just take it now.
Wait. What? I thought he had a pawn on h4. Oh no, what am I thinking about? So is the pawn hanging on g5? I'm so confused. I think I'm just up 3 pawns. Good thing there's increment.
He is up 3 pawns.
Let's play b5.
And here I can win the pawn. I can win the b5 pawn, but the instant we trade rooks, it's a trivial win for black. So yeah, I don't trade rooks here.
He has no pawn. He better have no pawns left.
Oh man.
a2. Okay. Check. Whoa, where do I move? I have this move, I think. So my king... Oh, wait, what? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
oops.
I didn't mean to lose that pawn. No! Losing another pawn.
All right, but yeah, we get into this end game where he's only a pawn up, but he still has a win because my king can never get over to the g file to defend against the pawn. So I realize obviously that this is a win, and if he wasn't blindfolded, I would have resigned immediately. But I wanted him to show this. Maybe his stream, maybe some of the guys in his stream didn't know how to convert this win. So I try to defend here as white.
But I have the Lucina position. I have to do it blindfolded.
It's called the Lucina position.
This is Lucina. The king is cut off.
Yeah.
Just have to remember where his rook is. Let's play g4.
I briefly had an idea of trying to play my rook in front of my king so that my king could walk in behind my rook. But then I have to make sure that after the rook trade that I still have a draw, which I don't think I ever did. So I'm not sure that I haven't looked at this with a computer yet, but yeah, I'm not sure if I ever had a drawing chance. After winning this last pawn over here, I'm not sure if I ever had a drawing chances or not. I suppose I could look at that later.
Now g3. I'll keep pushing.
And I'm sure I didn't defend the best way here.
Such a ridiculous game. So thankful he gave me the bishop. Unexpected gift. Okay, so now I chase the king further. And very soon, I'll build the bridge. Yeah, this is actually an instructive endgame. Building the bridge is when you put the rook here, and the rook will provide shelter. It better provide shelter. Yeah, king g4. Now after rook here, this is the bridge on g5.
Yeah, so we trade moves here, and I resign.
And I'll queen. Okay.
He resigned. Like I briefly considered making him checkmate me with his queen, but yeah, no, I didn't want to put the chat like obviously every player in the chat knows how to do that. Checkmate with the queen. So I didn't make him do that. But anyway, yeah, that was a really fun game, Eric. Thanks for accepting my challenge. I do appreciate that. Good game. That was a lot of fun. We should do that again sometime. All right. So that was this video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching.